Hey guys, it's Lazy, and in today's video, I want to show you guys my early game Atlas strategies. This time, I'll be talking about Destructive Play. And Destructive Play as an early game strategy is no longer a secret. It is very powerful, it provides you a lot of good currencies and very consistent. And it is probably one of the better one out there. So what I would consider to be a good early game strategies, you would need to be very self-sufficient. You can run any maps that you drop because you don't have a lot of choice. It would need to have consistent profits, so you would make profits from every map so that you can reinvest that back into your map to make them a little bit better next time to run. And what some people might consider not to be as important, but for me it has always been very, very important to be able to gain a lot of experience from these kind of strategies. So I put Betrayals into my setup as well. This is going to be a Destructive Play paired with Betrayals mechanics and some other small mechanics which I'll go over in a bit. But overall, as an early game strategies, if you're running this, you will make consistent profits, you'll make good experience. Even if you are dying, it's fine. Betrayal Safe House is very good for farming EXP in the early games. You will have chance at getting jackpot drops and you will have a good time because Destructive Play, in my opinion, is very fun to play. Alright, let's talk a little bit on the loots and why this is good. So the main loots for this strategy is going to be when Maven summon additional Atlas boss, you have more chance to drop maps, which means that if you spec into all these points, you have chance to drop Synthesis maps, Conquerors map, the Shapers, Elders, Guardian maps, and then this league will have Memory Tear chance map as well, and these can be very profitable and they sell for good money. So yeah, we have maps is going to be our first major loot, which you can kind of see here. I have a bunch of maps and these usually goes for better price if you sell them in bulk. And this league, it was kind of buff in a way that you can use Orc of Horizon to reroll them. So for example, if I were to reroll this, I can get another map like this, and then now I have a full set, which means that it is a lot easier for you to sell in sets and it is very convenient. And all in all, it's a pretty good buff and it will make selling maps a lot easier. And the second thing where you can sell for money is going to be Maven Chisel. Whenever Maven comes and witness your maps, you are going to get these Maven Chisel drops and you can sell them on the currency exchange for a pretty hefty price for some of them. So for example, this one would go for 14 chaos, 15 chaos, depending on the market. And because you can sell this on the exchange, it is very liquid and it's a pretty good source of consistent profit. So in an early game strategies, you want to take notes like Shrines, you want to take notes like Pack with Energies, because Nico can give you some borrow power doing mapping. But not a lot of people know you can actually take mining byproducts and it will give you Azurite when you have a chance to pick up Azurites when you click those sulfide vein ore in your maps. And this is very good because you can kind of see here, I haven't really touched this, but I have, 55,000 of those Azurites, and I haven't even stepped into the mine yet. And these will sell for consistent profit because you can just buy the resonator. Depending on the price, I'm just gonna try to buy like 10 of them and then I'll sell them on the currency exchange. I'm not sure what's the rate right now, but we'll see. So yeah, with 55,000 Azurite, I can get like 180s of those little resonators. And for like example, 10 of these, I would be able to get, okay, so that's roughly 25 chaos. And if you wait a bit longer, you can get better deal. So yeah, surprisingly enough, you can actually sell resonators as a part of the strategies, and they are very liquid and they can be profitable as well. So beside what we talk about, there are some more loots that I would consider to be miscellaneous loots. For example, we have Veil, Chaos Orb. You can get this from Betrayal Mechanics, Betrayal Safe House. You can get things like the Syndicate Medallions. You will get a bunch of Scarab as well because we do allocate that in the trees, which we'll talk about in a bit. And then you will also get things like, for example, Awaken Gems. They would be considered to be jackpot drops. You can get some pretty expensive Awaken Gems out of the Maven encounter as well. and they can always be currency drops, and you will have mercenaries, which also have some pretty good loot drops as well. But those are not really that consistent, so I would not cover that in this video. With that being said, let's talk about how I set up and how I run the strategies, and there are about 3 parts to this. And by parts, I mean that there are 3 types of maps that you will be running. The first one will be the raid maps, and for the raid maps, you can run Silo. Silo is the best for running destructive play. But if not, you can also run any raid maps that have not been witnessed by Maven yet. So any maps that do not have this eye, and Maven can come witness, that should be fine. The next type of map that you will be running will be the Syndicate Safe House. It is pretty straightforward. Whenever you have the safe house up, and you will talk to Jun and open the maps and just finish it. I have run quite a few safe house, and in terms of profits, I would say they are not that great. But like I said, we're running this for experience. And there is also jackpot potential because I did get a few really good and expensive unique items from Kadiros whenever I run into one of the safe houses that have him. And apparently you can get Mage Blood from Kadiro as well, so yeah, it's gonna be considered as a jackpot drop. I'm going to put a little section in here. I'll call it the TLDRs of the Betrayal's mechanics. But before the TLDR turns into a 20 minutes video, I'm going to only be explaining what you should do because I don't want to explain the whole mechanics. It's just way too complex for a video like this. The main goal for us when we are running the Betrayal's mechanics is to rank up the members, and we are going to interrogate them for intelligence so that we can run more safe house. Whenever you do an encounters, there can be multiple masters or there can be only one master. If there is multiple masters, the first thing you will want to do is to look for the star of the masters. In this case, we have a 2-star Torah and a 0-star Gravicius. Which brings me to my first rule, which is always execute. And there's only 3 options you can do after you finish a master missions, and that is execute, interrogations, and bargains. As long as your master is not the last one, you will always have option to execute them, and you should always do so to give them a higher rank up. Always prioritize your higher members to rank them up as you can get to level 3 faster so you can interrogate them. Which brings me to my next rule, and that is always interrogate level 3 masters. Because this option is always available, you should look to talk to the level 3 master last out of all the masters. The last one is bargain, and this is the most complex one because there can be multiple options that you can take. What I would say is always take the bargains that offer gain intelligence or change the relationships with other masters, like become friends or become rivals. And for the last option, you can always pick interrogation as well if the master is at level 2 or above. Anything else usually don't matters if you don't try to set your board in a certain way, like Gravicius in transportations to farm the div card stacks and stuff like that. So we are just trying to get through the Betrayal safe house as fast as we can, and so we can get some extra veil orb drops or even the Syndicate medallions, which they usually go for like 60 chaos a pop. So the third and final map that you should be running, that is going to be the Originator's Memories map. This map was added in 3.26 and it's part of the league mechanics, and these maps are extremely hard to run because they are using the T17 map modifiers. T17 mods is considerably harder than T16s. In my case, I'm using Orb of Binding and Scouring Orb to reroll the maps instead of Chaos to save money. These maps don't disappear, and if you fail them, you can run them again. So just try to run a few maps to see if your build is capable of handling these kind of maps. Usually I run this kind of map every so often because if you are running this, you're going to be starting on Silo, and completing a Silo map will actually lock you out from the Maven destructive play farmings because you have to kill the end boss of this Silo maps. Because we have to run 9 other maps to complete a Maven invitations, and then we can go back and farm Silo again, which is fine in my opinions because these maps are very juicy and it can give a lot of monies. And especially if you're not farming silos like I am, you can just run any kind of maps and get the memory tears, and then you run those and you don't have to worry about running silos or any resets after all. One final thing, and is very important, is that when you are running destructive play, Maven will summon bosses depending on how many monsters that is left in the map. So ideally, you want to go ahead and kill most of the monster before you even get to the boss. And so yeah, just try to optimize it in a way that you can. But for some maps, it's just really hard and you really don't want to backtrack all the way. So just do your best. Before moving on, I want to quickly touch on the Atlas skill as well. Obviously, I'll provide a PoE planner. All you have to do is to copy this, but I'll touch on the important points so that if you don't have as much point as me, you can probably set this up at around 100 point or more. The most important points, in my opinion, is obviously destructive play. We are going to spec into all these map nodes to get synthesized map, conquerors map, elder guardians, and shaper guardian maps. And if you cannot do memory tear chance, then you don't want to run memory tears, and that's completely fine. Beside that, we are getting the scarabs farms from this scarab right here. I'll say this one is more important. You can save this point for later. And then we can take significant trove as well for unique monster to drop more scarabs. And then we are taking all these moral power nodes. We'll have these shrines, and this one gives density on the shrines. And we are taking pack with energies. So anytime that you interact with a voltaic sulfide vein, you are going to get a buff. And this buff gives you 35% increased damage, 15% increased movement speed, and they stack together up to 3 times, which is why you will see me move very, very fast in maps, and I'll just clear maps like crazy. Beside that, we are also taking all these map nodes down here. It is very important that you take all of them. It helps with map sustains, and obviously in a strategy like this, we want to have a lot of extra maps. The only June point that I actually get with this strategy is actually lethal extraction. We are getting the June spawn chance from our scarabs, and we're also getting that Nico spawn chance from scarab as well. So we only need these point, and this will help you get intelligent faster so you can run more safe house, and that's the logic behind it. We'll have a highlight sessions of me running 20 sets of maps with some originator maps, and then I also run some safe house as well, and I'll run the Maven invitations, and then we'll see you guys back for the loot breakdown of the strategies. I would recommend you guys to stay and watch this because it's more like a showcase for you to see what I do and understand the process behind running maps and how to be efficient. Hey guys, welcome back. So that was my 20 sets of silo maps, a Maven invitations with 2 extra maps, 2 originator sets of memories, and then I also run a bunch of sigils as well. Let's go over the loot breakdowns of the strategies, and then I will share some tips and tricks on how to get better currency gains in the early game so you can fund your builds. Let me introduce you to Wealthy Exile. This is a tool that is available in PoE 1, where you can log in and put your stash in here. It will sync with the website, and this will give you an estimation on how much currency you actually gain over the course of playing. Some of these items can overestimated, some can be underestimated, but it should give you a vague idea on how much currency you gain and what you should be selling when you are breaking down strategies, when you're trying to farm some stuff, because it can show you how much value you have, but in terms of what items. So like for example, I drop an Unnatural Instincts, and this is 3.5 divine, so I know that I should sell this first. And then I have about 2.3 divine worth of scarabs. Currencies, all these bubble currencies, you can easily see how much you actually gain. And so yeah, it's a rough idea. I actually stopped playing for a little bit, and so you can kind of see here, I play at 11s, kind of stop playing at 12, and then I'll play a few more maps at 1. So my currency gain per hour is 5.2 divine, but I actually stopped playing for 1 hour, so it's a little bit more than that. Over the course of all the maps, we gain about 23,000 azurite, and they come out to be roughly 150 chaos if you are able to buy the primitive chaotic resonators and sell them on the currency exchange. So I went ahead and calculated all the investment that we have. We have a bunch of silo maps. We do 30 domination map craft because we are running 10 extra originator maps. All in all, it's 2 divine investment. The revenues come out to be about 10 divine with the Wealthy Exile estimations, without Unnatural Instincts and resonated conversions. So yeah, it's roughly 8 divine in profit. Profit per hour is obviously subjective. If you are able to run map very fast, you can earn up to 4 divines by running all of these in 2 hours. It is subjective, and I don't want to get into that topic, but for estimation, this is something that you can probably expect it if you are running these maps correctly and you can complete them. And that's about cover the strategies. In my opinion, this is, again, for an early game strategies with low investment, this is pretty good. And if you have watched all the way here, I want to give you some really nice tip, especially if you are a new player, on how to actually earn currencies. You should worry less about the divine per hours, and you should think about how to spend as much time in map as possible. Remember, hideout is lava. You want to spend as much time in map as possible, and that means you want to set up a dump tap so you can go back to hideout, put a bunch of your loot in stash, and then you can move on to the next map. And make sure that when you are trying to sell your loot, sell them in bulk. Do not try to sell them like one by one unless you really need the currencies. And please pick a strategies that you like to farm so you can actually have fun while playing and do not feel like you are working in extra jobs. And so that's about it for the videos. Hopefully you guys get some new ideas, and good luck with your farms. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.